Threshing Machine Company steam traction engine. That's an 18-horse Minneapolis twin cylinder. Of that model of steam traction engine, that's the last one left in the world. There are no other running 18-horse twin cylinder Minneapolis traction engines anywhere. That's owned and operated by Nick Blotty from Duluth, Minnesota. That was the first steam tractor out here at our show. That they didn't draft very well that way, so Minneapolis sent out a factory conversion and converted it to a single smokestack. If you're going to be in our parade, you have to wait. This is going to take that down and spread that load of manure down on our Christian South field down there this afternoon after the parade. The next tractor is an Avery gas tractor. That is not a steam tractor, that is an old Avery gas tractor. That round thing in the front is a radiator. It has vertical copper tubes that the water circulates through, and that cools the engine. When you shift that tractor into gear, there is no transmission. You shift the engine back and forth in the frame. Watch the engine. Slides are in and out of gear with a lever by pulling that engine back and forth in the frame. Thanks, Tim. That's being driven by Tim Watry. This next steam tractor belongs to me. I bought that in Marshall, Michigan, right down on the southern border of Michigan. And loaded that on a big trailer behind a big truck that I had at the time and hauled it across the Mackinac Bridge. And I tried to get my wife to lean out the window of the big truck we were in and take a picture of the big span on that Mackinac Bridge with that steam tractor going under it. She would not do it. Instead, she leaned over my way and took a picture in the rear view mirror and got that anyway. So we got a picture of that coming across the Mackinac Bridge from Michigan. That's a Port Huron. It's called a Longfellow. It has an extra long boiler. It has 9-foot tubes inside the boiler that transfer the heat. It has a factory cabin canopy on there that was put on in 1914. That is my factory's 100th birthday this year. So that's being driven and co-piloted by some good friends of ours. All of our boilers are inspected by the Minnesota State Boiler Inspector every other year, and we all have to be licensed traction engineers to drive these in public. So we are all licensed steam engineers. This next tractor is a 20-horse Minneapolis steam traction engine owned by my son Joshua Ritchie. It has some ESCO here. He bought that off the farm and was delivered to in southwestern Wisconsin. Being driven by a good friend of ours, Philip Parendo from ESCO, and Ryan Mickey on the wheel. The boiler on that is just like new. That was really electrified when we found that. This next tractor is a Case 40-horse steam traction engine, 1913 40-horse Case. That's also owned by my son Josh Ritchie from ESCO, and that's him driving it, and his wife Carrie. and they are both steam traction engineers. That's my beautiful granddaughter Baisley waving in the back there. Hi Baisley. Oh, Baisley. Well, I'm shot for the rest of the parade. Wowzer. You wonder why you have kids, huh? This next tractor is a Rumley oil pull owned by Wayne Cherry. Wayne's dad, Eno, bought that years and years ago. That was one of the first tractors at our show back in 1961. Nice running old Rumley oil pull. Those start on gasoline, they run on kerosene, and the engine is cooled with oil. It's not cooled with water or antifreeze. There are plates inside that box in the front that are double-sided and oil flows in between them. The engine exhaust induces a draft up through that box, and that air cools the oil and that cools the engine on that tractor. Thanks, Wayne. Jeffrey Nelson on a 1947 Alice Chalmers W Speed Patrol grader. Alice Chalmers basically used the tractor's power unit and rear axle and put that grader frame on it. Alice Chalmers King road grader. Behind that is an old Western wheel scraper, road grader, and built 1906, and that was pulled with horses or oxen or mules or something like that. Did road work with that. Being operated by Glenn Hansen, the president of our organization. That's his grader. This next tractor is a Alice Chalmers mule. That's owned and being driven by Ryan Hansen. 1928 Alice Chalmers mule. When you got those steel wheel tractors, you bought them from the dealer, and you got a toolkit, an instruction manual, and a kidney transplant certificate. That's his sister Ashley riding it with her. Her hair is normally black, she dyed it orange to match that tractor. And she knew I was going to say something about that sometime this weekend. This next tractor is a 1938 McCormick Gears W30 owned by my son Josh Ritchie, driven by a good friend of ours, Brian Percola. McCormick Gears W30. That was bought, believe it or not, about a half mile down the road from here after the show one year. Thanks, Brian. Nice running old McCormick Gears W30. That's 30 horsepower on the drawbar. That's a real hard pulling tractor. This next tractor is one of mine. It's a 1936 John Deere Model T. T is in dog. That's a 501 cubic inch two-cylinder tractor. 501 cubic inch two-cylinder. I show that tractor pull with it and have a lot of fun with that tractor at home. That's being driven through the parade by some good friends of ours from down at the Bissell Farm Show. They have Bissell Farm. There's a museum down there, and it's attached to the side of Paul Bunyan land down by Brainerd. This next tractor is another one of mine. It's a 1936 John Deere Model T. driven by Gary. Gary is also a steam traction engineer. Behind him, he's pulling a John Deere Model 802 farm wagon. Those were built between 1931 and 1935. And when John Deere made the 802 farm wagon and some of the other sizes, they were painted red, but who wants a John Deere farm wagon painted red? It has to be John Deere green and yellow. Yes, Gary? This is Grace Ganassi on a 1973 Alice Chalmers 416 with hydrostatic drive. That was bought new by my stepdad in Esco, Minnesota here. Proudly drives that. I sold that to her dad and her a few years ago. Got the mower deck, a blower, no blower, and a bunch of other stuff. Can you pull in the lawn tractor full today? Good for you. Wilbur Guida on a 460 Farmall International. And behind him he has a potato digging operation. The potato digger right behind the tractor and a cleaner and bagger that he's pulling behind the potato digger. You see that C-shaped blade in the front, you lower that down into the potato hill. And that scoops the potatoes out of the ground, runs them up on that conveyor, which shakes the dirt out of them, and they fall onto that other conveyor, and that shakes some more dirt out of them, and they go into a bagger in the back where Kevin is standing and operating out there. We harvest all of the potatoes that they sell over here. We have a potato field across the road, and we used to harvest them during our show, but we ended up so short on help that it's really hard on these older guys that do our potato plant here. So they do them ahead of time and on a field across the road bring them over. This is a very, very unusual little lawn tractor. It's a Bolin K10 articulated tractor. I have never seen one of those before this weekend. It is only two-wheel drive, but it's articulated. 10 horsepower, EK Bolin. That's owned and operated by Kerry Culver. Thanks a lot for bringing that out. That's just a dandy. Isn't that cool? This here is the tractor that we're going to give away right after the parade. It's a 1943 Alice Chalmers C. The gentleman that's driving it is one of the Hanson brothers, and he volunteered to paint that for us and put the tires on it and really did a nice job. We're still selling raffle tickets for that. We'll sell them right up until the last minute for $1. Where else can you buy a tractor that nice for $1? Are they done selling them now, Gary? I guess they stopped selling them now, so we can sort them out back there and get them shook up good. We're going to pull a winner right after the parade. Behind that is a real nice old wooden box grain hauling wagon. This next tractor is a Coxsackie. They were made in Canada. Mike Johnson on a real nicely restored 1947 Coxsackie model of 30. And he pulled in that with the tractor pull yesterday, which was kind of a mess. We had kind of a 3-piece tractor pulling track down there. It was very interesting. I just gotta say that. on that. Thanks for bringing that out. This next tractor is Russell Isola on a 1952 Ford 810 with a house brush hog behind it. That's a point brush hog. Still demoed after it, then raise it up and down. How do you like that? Our show is just about over, and that's the first piece of fun that we've had all weekend. This is that different place of like, right before the thunderstorm coming at about 5 o'clock. Right about when I put my first load of stuff on the trailer to go home, the sky will open up. Real nice running old Ford 8 and 1952. After they made the Ford, I think the 53, they started making the Jubilees and discontinued the M Series Ford. That's what I do the last week in September at my house. I brush hog about 30 acres. Carl Masson on a 1970 Case model 202 lawn tractor. He's got dualies on there. Did you pull in the lawn tractor pull, Carl? Sure he did.
Oh, Scotty.
This is a real nice little Sears Roebuck 10 horsepower, a 1969. Owned by Brandon Miller. Nice little tractor. Sears and Roebuck. He also pulled these tractors full. This belongs to Ryan Mickey from Estill, Minnesota. It's a 1965 Case 180. He's got that outfitted with tractor tires. Nice little 65 Case 180. He's got more invested in the tires than he paid for the tractor. That's a 45B Alice Chalmers. You must not be on the list. He says he fell off the list. Real nice running and really nice restored Alice Chalmers. Yeah. This is a Farmall. We'll give you that. We'll give you more in a minute. Real nicely restored Farmall H. Are you on the list? Big Mofall 1945 Farmall H. That's what year it is, 1945. Real nice running tractor. This is Ryan Mickey on a 1949 Farmall Model C. I sold that to him a couple years ago. That tractor's been rebuilt from one end to the other. It has dual systems.